All right. Well, thank you all so much for having us here. We appreciate the opportunity to share what we do at Esther's. Just to give you a little backstory of how Esther's came to be. 13 years ago, just about 13 years ago, I lost my husband. He had a heart attack. I had an 11-year-old son and found myself a widow and a single mom. And began that struggle. I grew up and lived in California my whole life, and a year after my husband had passed, God picked me up and moved me here to Statesboro, Georgia, and I could not be more thankful. Once I got here, I had met some wonderful people in the community. John Long at Christian Social Ministry, he kept bugging me that I needed to be serving and it was going to help my grief, and so I did. I started helping him and got involved there, and at Freedom Through Recovery with, God just was like put me in the middle of this recovery community, and with all that, being a single mom, being a widow, being put in the middle of the recovery community, and the food pantry, I just saw that there was such a big need, and my heart was just like burdened for single moms especially, just being that I knew what that was all about, and for widows, and I just started journaling and praying, and God just kept putting different ideas on my heart, and 3.5 years ago, a dear friend of ours introduced Lori and I. She had just moved here from Pennsylvania, and we were instant friends. And one morning, she was up at Christian Social Ministry doing some work, and it was during my devotion time, and God just said, "It's time." And I ran up to where Lori was at and threw my journals at her and said, "This is what God's been saying. We got to do this." So we took it to our pastor, Pastor Brandon at Connection Church, and he agreed that there was a need to help women in need. And in discussing all that, it was hard to pin down any one need, because really we all have different needs. We're all broken people. So we kind of kept it that, just we serve women in need. And I'm going to let Lori take it from there.
Yeah, well, just a little bit of my backstory. I'm from Pennsylvania, born and raised in a very small town outside of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I'm sure many of you heard of. I grew up as a child being bullied within my family. My sisters, younger and older, both bullied me, but I was always that, one that I always tried to mend things. But that bullying went on into, my teenage years, and it actually went into my adult life as well, unfortunately. But I did not grow up in the church. We went to Sunday school, or not Sunday school, but Vacation Bible School here and there. But, we always know that there's a creator of something, and that's, it's like, I remember my grandparents, and it was like, they were believers, but it wasn't that, it wasn't like pouring into me as a child. But into my adult life, my daughter had started going to, she actually went to a Vacation Bible School, and she was learning, and she also went to a Christian preschool, and she just kept asking questions, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible mom, I can't answer any of these questions. So I started digging in, and her grandparents on her dad's side, at that point, we just started going to church with them, and so I was 30 years old, going to church for, really the first time, and just digging in, and so it was, I was 30 years old before I became a follower of Jesus, but it's never too late. But thought I had, going great, ended up in a bad situation, not proud of it, but I was in an adulterous relationship, and of course it ended up in divorce. My husband now, we have been married, gosh, it's been, it's gone on 16 years, but, just to see, how God works through that, knowing that, I was broken as a child with, being bullied and made a lot of bad choices, in my, younger life, still make some bad choices, today, but, especially if I would have ate that piece of cake back there, but, it's just really cool to see, it's like, we can minister to different people because of where we came from. And that's what my biggest thing was always never forget where you came from. It's like Tanya can just, really shed light on the women coming in that have lost their husbands. I can't. But I was bullied, and I always had that very, low self-esteem. And I can speak on that with the women. So it's just so cool how God brought us together in order to just minister to so many women, just right where they're at. Because when they come in, we don't know their story. And there's many that will never know their full story. But we don't need to, because God does. And whether they're a believer or not, we choose to love them right where they're at. There's no judgment. And it's just a way, there's so many different ways, and we'll share that, how we can, we're just a vessel. We're God's vessel just to share the love of Jesus with each and every woman and child that comes through those doors.
So some of the ways that we do that is, a single mom that, when she's got everything to do, taking care of the kids and working and taking care of the house and all that. So she can drop her laundry off in the morning with us. And at the end of the day, when she's headed home, she can pick up that washed, dried, and folded laundry along with a home-cooked meal. And this gives her at least one night off during the week to be able to sit and enjoy, dinner with her kids and, read to them, help them with their homework without the stress of the laundry's got to be going, or, you ran through the fast food line again just because you didn't have a plan or you don't have the time. So that's probably one of our favorite things we get to do for some of our ladies. We also have showers for homeless women. So, a safe place for them to be able to come, shower. If they're hungry, we'll cook them a hot meal. We've got clothes. They can come in and get a whole new outfit. And if they have laundry, which typically, they don't usually, they just need new clothes. And what's fun is, and it makes me think of one lady in particular, it's not just about grab a t-shirt and, a pair of sweats. We let them pick out whatever outfit they want. And we have one lady in particular, she shows up every now and again. And, she gets her handbag to match her outfit and the shoes and then some jewelry. And she goes walking out feeling like $1 million. And that's what it's about. It's about, just lifting them up right where they are. Some of the other things we do, we just moved locations. Originally, we had a little salon built in there. I did hair my whole life. And so I was blessed to be able to give them haircuts. Now we have some other salons, because we don't have the space for that are working with us, and they get a voucher and they can go to the salon and this is a homeless woman or just somebody who can't afford to go just get pampered for an hour. I know I'm forgetting lots of things.
Well, we do have, we have multiple different meetings. We offer budgeting, but it's not like in a group setting, it's one-on-one budgeting. We have a Samoa's group, they call themselves the Samoas. There's two ladies that had started in Al-Anon that they just wanted something more intimate, so it's called the States Where Moms of Addicts, and they meet twice a month at Esther's place, and they just are able to pour into one another, because they understand that struggle of their child, being in that addiction. So that's really cool. We have daily devotion time in the afternoon, and we have a weekly Bible study on Tuesday mornings at 10. So, and anyone is welcome. You don't have to be, you walk in our doors, you're our friends. Just ask Larry. Larry knows.
That's right.
But I mean, there's so many things, you know, along with the.
Widow
I
to
mean,
widow, we do have a
yes.
widow to widow support group that meets once a week as
Yes,
well.
on Wednesdays. But like Tanya had stated, we are celebrating three full years of ministry, which is just amazing to me, because I was talking yesterday, 2 years, no, 3 years, no. Well, sometimes it feels like 10 years, but 3 years, and I was just looking back at the numbers, and we've actually been able to serve over 600 different women in that time frame. And we have provided over 2,500 meals just in those 3 years, and it's like, when you really look at it, because we're just, you know, we're providing meals and we don't think twice about, you know, giving. Because I mean, there's been so many people that have poured into us in so many different ways. You know, it's like, you know, there's so many, it's like, oh, well, you need this, and yes, we do need the finance, you know, the financial piece of it. We need the donations and we need the food, but it's like, we need the prayers. It's like those prayers are what held us together, which is, you know, just boosted our confidence, because we went into this thinking, you know, when we went to our pastor and talked about this, he's like, I know you're not two kooky ladies. I'm like, okay,
But
you
we
do
are.
not know us. You know, I'm gonna walk out the door. But it's like, because we got a word here. But it's just so cool to see, you know, we are so blessed to know that there's people in the community, outside the state, that are just praying for us. So that has just been awesome to see what has happened in the last 3 years, and to see what's going to be in the days ahead.
Yeah. So recently we moved to this new building on Savannah Avenue, and it was really because, well, the nitty gritty of it is we needed to be in a commercially zoned area, because we have added a thrift store that not only will definitely help with our funds, because we are just community funded, and a lot of people, you know, ask us about why aren't you have you tried for grants and that kind of thing. Well, most grants we've looked at, they want you to take Jesus out of it, and we're not gonna. So God's provided, and He keeps on providing, and but fundraising is a lot of work as well. So we were able to move into this house. Half of the building is a small thrift store. And if any of you are cleaning out your house, we take home decor and kitchen items. And then it's women's, gently used women's clothes for the season. So right now, spring and summer, and purses and jewelry. And so, like, the women that we were giving the clothes to, you know, they still will be able to get those free items. They just get to go shop in the thrift store for them. Because we also provide for, like, if a homeless woman finally gets into a home, and obviously she needs dishes, and she needs a toaster, and she, you know, silverware and all those things, so we can help provide that as well. And it's actually helped having a thrift store, because we can carry so much more for them. But we're really excited, because it's going to bring this opportunity for us to help teach job skills to many of these women. Just our eyes were opened, kind of took for granted, I guess, the things that our own mamas taught us. And having some of the volunteers from, like, the recovery community, you know, wanting to come and volunteer to, you know, clean the bathrooms or sweep the floor, or, you know, those kind of things, and just realizing they didn't know how. So we're, you know, with this thrift store, we're able to teach them more of that, and excited about that. And then just the idea that it actually helps bring more awareness to the community about what we're doing.
Because we used to be on Grady Street, which was kind of like a hidden, many people are like, where on Grady Street? We always say, behind Fraser's Flowers. And now we're like, oh, okay, because that's Center Hour. But now we're on Savannah Avenue, right beside the Habitat, the new Habitat for Humanity office buildings, across from Vision Source and Savannah Avenue. So we're like right, we don't have our sign up yet. We're hoping that we are going to be getting that by tomorrow, prayers. Because we are having a big celebration on Saturday. You're all welcome to come, 10 to 2. We will be celebrating our 3 years. We will be celebrating the new location and as well as the grand opening. We had a soft opening 2 weeks ago for our thrift store, and it's just been amazing how many people have already found it and just shopped. So we'll be having a grand opening for that as well. And I'm not sure if any of you know Ava's Lemonade for a Cause. She actually is a high school student that raises money for Alzheimer's. And she's going to be, we're blessed that she's going to be setting up in our front yard. So so we want to bring awareness to her as well and what she's doing in the community. So
Yeah. And it really, at the end of the day, the most important thing that we do at Esther's is to share the love of Jesus. They might think they're coming in for an outfit or a shower or a meal, but they're going to hear about Jesus and they're going to be loved like Jesus, like Jesus is loving them. And, we're there to be their friend, to be their cheerleader, to walk alongside them in their journey. So, anybody have questions?
I had Esther for 30 years.
It's not like me.
well, you were blessed.
Yes.
So is the thrift store open all the time?
Sorry, yeah. Tuesday through Friday, we're open 10 to 4, and Saturdays 10 to 2. And if you follow, if you're on Facebook, please follow us. We are getting ready, and I'm not sure if any of you were able to come out to our event last year. It is Esther in the Borough, which is May 3rd this year. Last year it was May 4th out at Kiwanis Fairgrounds with vintage, antique, upcycled items, which was huge success last year. I mean, it was just amazing, just the way the community just poured in for that event. But that's another event coming up as well.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Let me give you a word of encouragement. This morning about daylight, I read my devotional. I read it all the time. And our devotion today says, "Let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not."
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. It's all for His glory.
That's right.
All for His glory.